All right, my beautiful people, thanks so much for tuning in. This is your conspiracy brother once again, ERGJ TV. Decided I'll go back through and go through the story again on the Korryn Gaines case. Now, again, what we're going to do here is pick up where we at in the story, because again, as I mentioned to you before, mentioned to you in my previous video, story is going to change. Now, when the story changes, most people are going to say, "Oh, just new evidence came out." Things like this that people say as if they don't know the story itself. They have to do a lot in the time that they have the story, which is on Monday up until now, to get people to believe that the story is real. And so again, I'm going to go through some things today to show you guys once again, there was nothing more than a hoax. Nothing more than an attempt to get people riled up like you guys are doing, talking about things that are irrelevant to the story itself. I'll be sharing my screen in just a second. So give me, I know where it's at. 1 second here, guys. I got a document here I got to pull up for you guys. If I can find it. I don't know where it is. At any rate, so hopefully you guys have been paying attention to the story itself. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get right into this. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, guys. We need to go right into this. It's not going to really take that long. If you guys remember the story that we had, hopefully you'll understand what's going on here. So first, I want to play this for you guys because most people don't understand what a shotgun looks like. So when they talk about shooting a shotgun, I think it's important for you to know what it looks like. So let's play this video of a 12-gauge double-aught buckshot shotgun. You're talking about a lady shooting something like this while holding a kid. You never seen a shotgun being shot before. This is what it looks like. You see the recoil? So don't tell me if you've never seen a shotgun being shot before, this is what it looks like. Now, this lady was probably 120 pounds at best. 5'1". Just wanted to play that for you. Keep on playing. This is what a shotgun looks like when it's being shot. If you've never seen a shotgun being shot before, that's what it looks like. And I'm going to play it again and keep on playing. I'll play it again at the end of the video because some people are so retarded. They believe anything that the media puts in front of them. Now, and if you're here on chat, that's fine. Thanks so much for joining. So that's what a shotgun really looks like when it's being shot. And if you believe that a woman holding a 5-year-old son in her arm can shoot a shotgun, then you are absolutely retarded. You need to get your ideas checked. And yes, I'm going to call you retarded because you actually believe that mess. All right. So in African, now here's what I want you to understand. They tell you the truth right in front of your eyes. The truth is hidden right in plain sight. But many of us, we're going to try to link this back to her supposedly stopped with a cop in March. That was 4 months ago. March 5 months ago. We're going to start talking about that as if trying to link everything, saying this is how she was emotionally and all this stuff. And this is the same thing that the police do. The police will do that. They'll say, so anytime a black person gets shot, whether they had a clean record or not, they always end up finding some dirt and calling them a thug and calling them stupid. This is what the media does as it relates to African Americans. Now, again, I'm just going to go through the story and just show you how silly this is and how much of a hoax this was, because people continue to believe that this story is true and they're trying to rationalize something as well. Do I think she was radicalized by the black well, Glenn, I would say that again, the whole narrative. You got to look at the whole narrative. We're looking at the big picture. The big picture is Blue Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter. Anything that happens with black people, they're going to connect to Black Lives Matter. It doesn't matter. They're going to connect it. Black lives equals 33. I'm not going to get into numbers today. I'm just going to talk about the story. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, she was a person that didn't trust the cops. She was a person that, that was sovereign. Very similar to Gavin Long. She was a sovereign person. She believed she had her own rights. That were different than regular citizens. She was claiming herself a sovereign citizen, not subject to the laws of this land. But I don't really necessarily say it was about a Black Lives Matter movement. If you've lived in this country long enough, you're going to be radicalized. regardless of what's going on, whether it's the NAACP. I mean, if you Rodney King being beaten, can't we all get along? It doesn't matter. Hello, if you're African American and you live in this country, you're probably going to be radicalized at this point, because if you get stopped by cops and you have your hands on the wheel, you might get shot. If you're selling CDs or you're at somewhere just walking the street, you're going to get shot. So an African American be radicalized at this point as it relates to the cops, because we continue to see stories like this that go nationwide, stories that could be absolutely not true, but we continue to believe it, and it has us to move in a particular way. It has us feeling emotional. So what I want you guys to do is get out of your emotions right now. Let's just read the story logically, and I'm going to show you connections and show you how they tell you the truth in plain sight. I'm not going to even go into numbers. We're going to just ask questions about the story, get you to think critically, independent of your feelings, your bias, all that stuff, and just get right into the story. So an African-American woman who was killed after a 7-hour standoff. Now, this is important. 7 hours. 7 hours of deliberation and negotiation. Everybody's tired. People got to go to the bathroom. You know, the child is probably unrest, hadn't eaten. This is 7 hours of a standoff. No food, possibly no water. Maybe they fed her, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But think about sitting in your living room, sitting on the floor with a gun, supposedly, for 7 hours. The cops, 7 hours standing outside, or it's not even just the cops. It's the SWAT team that's outside the door. 7 hours. Just think about that. How long could you keep your sanity? How long could you stay calm for 7 hours of going back and forth, supposedly talking? I mean, this is a standoff. You would imagine that someone's talking to her, she's talking back, she's saying some vile things, they're trying to get her to calm down, and whatever you want to believe about this story. But again, this story is nothing but a hoax. An African-American woman who was killed after the 7-hour standoff with Baltimore County Police was trying to live stream the event, authorities said. So remember, this story comes from one side. It's all what the authorities say. And you got to ask yourself, have the authorities ever lied? Have the authorities ever falsified a police report? Have the authorities ever tried to put things into their perspective as it relates to what they give to the public? Do the authorities always tell the truth? This is a one-sided story that's being presented in a narrative to the American public. And again, it's nothing more than propaganda. Now, I'm looking for a death certificate. I want to see if a lady named Korryn Gaines actually died. We probably won't be able to get that for 3 weeks, but we're looking for the obituary and the death certificate. And of course, because I'm saying it on the airways, they're probably going to conjure something up. But as of now, we haven't been able to find an obituary or a death certificate. Authorities said on Tuesday, during the standoff, this 7-hour standoff, police requested that Facebook deactivate her account on service and on Instagram, which Facebook owns, Baltimore County Chief Jim Johnson told reporters to Tuesday. So we saw a case where Facebook Live was utilized, but in this particular case, the cops asked that they deactivate her account. So here's the question you got to ask. Where is the stuff that was on her Facebook account? Will we ever be able to see it as the public? Probably not. What could they be doing with all of the stuff that was on Facebook? They could be scrubbing. They could be taking things away, deleting things that they don't want you to see, and again, continuing to put the narrative in their perspective for how they want it to be for the American public. If you don't think this stuff happens, you are insane. If you don't think that the CIA or the alphabet soups of the government will go in and put things into the way that they want things to be presented to the public, you haven't been living in America long enough. So again, you got to ask yourself, what are they doing right now with the stuff that was on her Facebook account, which is probably the most recent things that she was putting out, her videos, her pictures, her loving her son, things like that, that you're not going to be able to see. Now, you got to ask yourself also, what we got on Instagram, how much of that was scrubbed before people knew where to go find it? These are the things you got to ask yourself, because for some reason, we believe that we own and control this stuff when we don't. They own and control Facebook. They own and control Instagram. They can put you in Facebook jail. They can delete all of the stuff off their servers anytime that they want because they own and control it. We don't. Understand that. Facebook owns Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram. And you got to ask yourself, who owns Facebook? Who does Facebook report to? If you think it's Mark Zuckerberg, you are highly deceived. Facebook gets all of your information. They're nothing but a data retrieval system to keep tabs on the American public who continue to use their platform. All right, the Facebook account, which allows live streaming, was taken offline. But here's the deal. Let's talk about what they're putting in plain sight. But 2 1-minute videos were still on Instagram account as of Tuesday afternoon. The videos were posted just before Korryn Gaines, Korryn Gaines, 23, was killed in an exchange of gunfire in which the 5-year-old was wounded in the arm. So these 2 videos that were posted, you got to ask yourself, who posted them? Did Korryn post them? Maybe, maybe not. That's something that you want to ask yourself. Who posted these 2 videos right before, the exchange of gunfire? Who posted them? Now, in one video, here's what you got. Here's the important stuff of this story. In one video, we saw the tactical officer in the doorway of an apartment. There is talking that is hard to discern, but there's no apparent conversation between the officer and Gaines. This is important. They're telling you in the story, there is no apparent conversation between the officer and Gaines. So ask yourself, who was talking to Korryn in that particular video that we saw where she said it's still charging, talking about her phone? She said it's still charging. And then somebody else said something else. But apparently it wasn't between the officer and Gaines. So who was talking to Gaines? They're telling you in plain sight that there was no apparent conversation between her and the officer, which is what most people believed. They believed that it was the officer talking to Gaines, but they're telling you in the story that there's no apparent conversation between officer and Gaines. So don't give me this, that she was talking to the officer. We're going through the story. So if the story tells you, the story that you want to believe, the story that's coming out to the American public that you want to believe so hard, you just don't believe they'll lie to you, well, let's just say they're telling us the truth. If they're telling us the truth, then ask yourself, who was talking to her in that particular video that now the video has been taken down? Isn't that interesting? They take the video down. What's the point of them taking it down? They don't want you to see the video anymore. In the other video, here's the other part of the story that you need to understand. They're telling you the truth in plain sight. Gaines talks to the boy. Now, why did they say talk to her son? Talks to the boy, who gives halting answers, which raises the possibility the boy might have been coached. Now, ask yourself this. Why would they tell you in plain sight that the boy might have been coached? Again, they're telling you in the story that this is nothing but a hoax. That scene that you saw between her and the boy, where the boy was not crying, the boy was not upset, the boy was not, he was happy as a lark, was nothing but a coached or a staged or a controlled psyop. I continue to tell you this stuff, guys. You continue to not want to believe it, but they're telling you in the story in plain sight, but we don't want to look with our eyes and say, wow, did they just tell me that? No. We want to rationalize, say, no, they couldn't be telling me this. This means something else. No, they're telling you in plain sight. It raises the possibility that the boy might have been coached. You say, oh, no, it's impossible that he was coached. No, they're telling you in the story that we are reading from the national news, from CNN, that it raises the possibility. So how can you say that it's impossible if they're telling you that it's possible? This is how silly the minds of American people are, that they can be told the truth right in front of their face and they still won't believe it. It's absolutely insane. So 2 videos, one that was taken down, one that's telling you that it's apparent that the conversation wasn't between Gaines and the officer. Well, who was the conversation between? Who were they talking to? Who was she talking to? These are questions that critical thinkers, people that are free in their own thoughts, people that are not waiting for someone to tell them the truth, but they're seeking the truth themselves. They ask, well, if she wasn't talking to the officer, who was the individual that was talking to her in this video? If the boy was having hard to answer, there's a possibility that the boy might have been coached. Well, why did you tell us this in the story? Now we have the possibility that he was coached, possibility that this was a staged event, possibility that this was a hoax, possibility that was a controlled psyop, nothing more than a hoax. Gaines is heard asking the boy what the police are trying to do. He answered, they're trying to kill us. Again, this is more of the coached conversation that they had. The boy is being treated for 9 life-threatening injuries at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, where he is in good condition, police said. Again, the police said it. The police said, if you are saying it's 100% accurate that the police are going to tell you the truth all the time, every time, You are sad. Where have you been in this country where the police always tell you the truth? Again, this is a one-sided story. You can continue to try to believe it and rationalize it all you want. We're just going through the notes that they provided. Now, responding to reporters' questions of whether police had deactivated Gaines' social media accounts during a standoff, Johnson said law enforcement has no power to deactivate an account. Okay, so now you're saying you have no power to deactivate an account, but has a portal for law enforcement requests, though, and police did ask the social media giant to deactivate the account to preserve the integrity of negotiations. Facebook complied. Great. So now you have some new information. You now know that police have a portal that's connected to Facebook, which tells you that Facebook and law enforcement work together. Facebook and the government, they work together. Do not be deceived thinking that the stuff that you put on your Facebook page and you post and all your videos and all of your pictures and all that stuff, don't be deceived to think that the government doesn't have access to all of it. 100%. It's a portal that they go through to get access to whoever they want through that is using Facebook. Facebook has a portal for law enforcement requests. These are the nuggets that you have to take away, that you have to decide to believe and decide to grab from the stories that they present. So, Crystal, you're asking, yeah, the boyfriend fled with her daughter. That again, that part of the story just goes on with the narrative of the effeminization or the emasculation of the black man, showing the black man to be weak, showing the black woman to be strong. That's division in the black community or division in the black family. They continue to show that narrative over and over and over again, where you have women that are in power, men that are weak, men that can't get jobs, men that can't provide for their family. That's the narrative that continues to be pushed forth in the public or in the black community. Also, where and how did the husband and boyfriend escape? That's a good question as well. Did he run out the front door? Did he run out? Did he jump out of a window? How did he escape? And therefore, the police would have heard the child crying, would have captured them both. All right, so Gaines was posting video of the operation, and some of the followers urged her not to follow police orders, Johnson said. So supposedly, she did her little videos, and then she did another video where she was on Facebook Live. All of this just very, very bizarre. Now, yesterday, we heard that the police got a key from the landlord, right? And they entered the house. Well, guess what, guys? Court documents say police kicked open the door at Korryn Gaines' apartment. Well, isn't that interesting? I told you yesterday that the story was going to change. Are you going to believe the story that continues to change? Are you going to believe? You see what I'm saying? Oh, they're telling you the truth, but the story can change. Nothing but a hoax. They are adjusting the story on the fly so they can get as many people as possible to believe their lies, to believe the lies that they tell. So court documents show that the police kicked the door open. Well, why would you kick the door open if you got a key? Makes no sense. Why would you kick the door open if you have a key? Yeah. Keep on believing what you want to believe, guys. I'm going to continue to spread truth and continue to expose these lies that is propaganda to the American public. So we talked about this yesterday. We finally got a name for Kareem Courtney, 39, was assaulted. This is the man who ran away, was one on assault and warrant, while Gaines was one on a bench warrant for felony appearing in court. Traffic charge, the police said. Gaines had a Mossberg 12-gauge shotgun, which she pointed at police, Johnson said. Records show she bought the gun last year. So Mossberg 12-gauge shotgun. Let's see what this thing looks like. And you believe that she fired this shotgun while she had a little boy in her hand. Give me a break, guys. Mossberg 12-gauge shotgun. Right there. She had this long gun in her hand and a child in her hand while she was. Now let's see how this thing shoots. Why not? You guys want to believe everything that you see. Now tell me this little lady was able to shoot this gun, a 12-gauge slug Mossberg 500 pump shotgun. Here's what target practice looks like. Here's the things that you won't go and research yourself. She's holding a young kid.
Coming to you from our backyard.
And this is
I've actually lined up, and we'll just see how.
Is they gonna show him shooting? Let's see. Yeah, you see that? You see how long it takes for her to recoil? Come on, give me some more. Yeah, give me some more. You guys believe everything that you hear. She's shooting a shotgun, this little lady, and holding a kid at the same time, right? Yeah, give me a break. So the officer called for a tactical team and waited. Not long in the standoff, Korryn left the apartment with a 1-year-old child and was arrested. How did he get out of the apartment? Good question. That left Gaines and the 5-year-old in the home. Gaines was posting videos of operations as it unfolded, but of course, that stuff has been deactivated. We can't see. Gaines facilitated between agitated and calm during the encounter. He said several times she pointed a gun at officers. So here we go, guys. Several times she pointed the gun at officers. So several times during this 7-hour standoff, we noticed they say that she pointed the gun at officers, so it was nothing new for them to get the gun pointed at her. Again, my question goes back: why did the officer shoot first? It's been 7 hours. Plenty of times she's pointed the gun at officers. Plenty of times she said what she said and been calm and been agitated. Plenty of times during the 7-hour standoff. Why would an officer shoot first with a 5-year-old boy in harm's way? None of you guys can justifiably answer that question. As a matter of fact, the police can't even answer the question. Let's keep reading. At around 4 p.m. after hours of standoff, the woman threatened officers verbally with the weapon, according to police account. If you don't leave, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Johnson quoted Gaines as saying, one police officer fired a shot, and Gaines fired back with the double buckshot. Officers responded with 3 shots, and the woman was struck. Police didn't say why the first officer fired. Now, isn't this kind of important to know? And we still don't have an answer, and the police won't say why the first officer fired. Now, don't rationalize. If you can try to come up with all the answers you want, but if the police can't come up with the answer, the police who you're believing this story from can't come up with the answer, then don't try to come up with an answer in your small little minds. The police didn't say why the first officer fired, and that is what the story says. Stop trying to go into your own rationalization. They did it because of this. They did it because of that. We understand that plenty of times the shotgun was pointed at officers. Plenty of times during the 7-hour standoff, there was some agitation and calm activity coming from Miss Gaines. Plenty of times in 7 hours. So once again, the most important question, I believe, in this hoax, in this story that they tell is, why did the police officer fire first into a situation that involved a 5-year-old kid? The 5-year-old boy was hit in the arm during a crossfire. It isn't clear if the boy was hit by a bullet or shrapnel or who fired the shot that hit him. So now they're saying they don't even know who fired the shot that hit him. This is how silly it is when it comes to the report that comes from police. The boy's location, now they're saying the boy's location during the gunfire is also unclear. Okay, it's unclear where he was, but you said that he was, you said yesterday he was being held in her arms. The story continues to change, and it will continue to change. This is how they operate. I'll pull this up and we'll read this in just a second. Let me see if this comes up. No, okay. So Gaines' Facebook account was deactivated, but nothing was deleted. If nothing was deleted, if you really believe nothing was deleted, again, you are disillusioned. You don't understand how this country operates. They'll never let you see everything. They'll let you see what they want you to see. They control the story. They control Facebook. They control the content that's there. If you believe that whatever it is that you're going to see is going to be everything, then you don't understand the country in which you live. But nothing was deleted, said Baltimore County Department spokesperson Elise Armacost, emphasizing that police wouldn't want deleted video because it could serve as evidence. Yeah, All right, I got you. Yeah, you don't want deleted video. Yes, correct. Yeah, you got me with that one, guys. You almost pulled the wool over my eyes. Authorities are working to obtain warrants for records on social media accounts belonging to Gaines who clearly had anti-government views, Armacost said. Asked for whether police secured their own footage of the standoff, Johnson said no officer involved in direct conflict was wearing a body camera. Isn't that interesting? Never do we get body camera footage, and that's fine. We're not expecting it at this point. It's been 5 years since we enacted body cameras to be worn by police, and 5 years down the line, we hardly get any body camera footage. Nothing new under the sun. To continue to give us the same information, regurgitated stories over and over again. Asked later, police contemplated if police contemplated bringing body cameras to the scene during the hours-long standoff. Look at this. So it was so long they had an opportunity to think about whether they want to bring some body cameras to the scene during the standoff. Armco says she would have to check and get back to reporters. Isn't that something? So long they had to think. They said, "Hey, man, they were asked, hey, didn't y'all think about bringing some cameras?" No, that wasn't on our mind. Of course, we wouldn't want to bring cameras. I mean, that might actually show people the truth. It might actually give people a proper perspective on what really happened. All right, now the officer be placed on administrative leave, which is standard procedure. And officer-involved shootings, according to police, their names were released around Thursday morning. So we're now on Thursday morning. Maybe we'll get the officers released, but, it doesn't really matter. It's Blue Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter. Of course, she was wanted for misdemeanors on a traffic stop. And this is the same information from yesterday. They have yet to confirm the relationship of the two children to either suspect. So many of you guys who are saying that this is her son, this is not confirmed yet. But again, we're going off of what we believe. Just because a boy was there, a boy who they say it's possible that he was coached. You want to say that this was her son. Police are telling you in their story. If you're going to believe the rest of the story, then you got to believe all of the story. Don't just pick and choose what you're going to believe. Police say they have yet to confirm the relationship of the two children to either of the suspects. So stop going around believing that this was her son. Stop going around believing that the other kid was her son or the other kid's son or whatever. There has been no confirmation on their relationships. So don't get out of order believing that you know how they were related when the police, who you believe, are telling you that it hasn't been confirmed. Again, the truth is in plain sight. But yeah, guess what, guys? Guess what you're going to do? Guess what most people do? They rationalize, say, oh, this is what happened. Oh, this is what's going on. And they're telling you straight up in the story, it's not confirmed yet. So if it's not confirmed for them, why is it confirmed for you? This boy that is in this story could very well be what they say, another actor. And if you don't believe that they'll use kids to pull the heartstrings of the American people, you are sadly mistaken. Going back to what they said about her account. Again, they said that in the other video, Gaines talks to the boy, never calling the boy her son. The boy might have been coached, giving you the possibility that this was nothing more than a staged event. Let's keep going. We're almost done here. So we'll just keep going. As a search in Maryland court filed showed, the police filed traffic and criminal charges separately against Gaines in relation to a March 11th traffic stop. You guys keep going back to this March 11th stop and talking about how unruly she was to the cops. You know that was 5 months ago. An officer issued Gaines citation related to her vehicle registration, insurance, and tags. You guys try to connect everything. You try to say, oh, she was like this then, she's like this now, all of this stuff. Listen, you're trying to do what the police do. An officer issued Gaines. Let's just look at this particular incident. You can link it all you want and personality and all this stuff, but let's just look at what they're saying, what the facts really are, if there are any facts. And the facts really are nothing more than lies. Offenses that would have commanded at least $560 in fine and filed criminal charges stemming from the same traffic stop the next day. She was originally pulled over for driving out of license. We understand all that. Gaines was accused of disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, littering, and failing to obey a reasonable and lawful order, all misdemeanors. All misdemeanors, no felonies, but she's got a warrant. Failure to appear in warrant was filed when she did not show up for court. Records show. Courtney, the man in the apartment with Gaines, was one on an assault warrant filed by Gaines following a domestic violence incident weeks prior to Monday's standoff. That would be interesting. Who was he in a domestic violence incident with? Was it with her? I don't know. Again, this goes with the narrative showing black men in the narrative in national media, presenting them as being violent. Nothing more than more of the narrative being played out that you continue to see over and over again in television. Details were not immediately available, but Maryland court records show that Korryn was arrested for second-degree assault on June 28th, and his case remains active. So that was not too long ago, guys. It was a month ago. Chief said it was unclear why he only took one child when he came out of the apartment. How did he get out of the apartment, Chief? Is anybody asking that? How did he get out of the apartment? You got SWAT team in the front. Apartment typically only has one door out. Did he just run out in front of the SWAT team, in front of the police? I mean, come on, guys. Are we asking any of these questions? How did he get out the apartment and make it ever far he made it in front of a police who had not kicked in the door, who were standing there negotiating, talking to the woman? Answer that for me. How did he get out the apartment? It was not clear if he was running or walking when he left. He was released from custody on Monday. Look at this. Do you guys really believe this stuff? It was not clear if he was running or walking when he left. Didn't he walk right in front of you guys? I mean, how else did he get out of the apartment? Do you guys ever ask questions like this? Do you guys ever ponder and say, you know what? You guys are telling me he left the apartment. How did he get out and get so far from you guys by walking right in front of you with a one-year-old boy? People will just refuse to think critically. They continue to believe the things that are put in front of them. Anything that goes mainstream media, you just believe it just because somebody said it. If it's on the internet, it must be true. If it's on the TV, it must be true. And this is how propaganda works. It gets people to believe the lies, believe things that they want you to believe. And this is the same way that Hitler in his reign, it's the same way he got 6 million people to follow him, by using propaganda. And it's the same thing that's happening today. There's nothing new under the sun. Hitler has been replaced with the United States government. It's legal for them to lie to the American public. That's a law that was passed in 2012 and 2013. And people still refuse to believe that they'll be lied to. This story is nothing more than a story that comes from cops. It's their story that they've conjugated and put together. I'm not saying I'm not saying it is false. What I'm saying is, do you believe everything that a cop tells you? That's what you got to ask yourself. Are there elements of truth in the story? Yes, probably so. But again, I continue to tell you that this is nothing more than a hoax, nothing more than to get people riled up, nothing more than to get people in anger, spilled out on social media pages. Death of another African American. Continue to see that African Americans are debating on whether whether she's stupid or she's righteous. There's a whole bunch of more division. Ask yourself this: with this story, has this story brought any unity in the country? This is what I continue to tell you guys. It is plain. It's plain sight. They continue to push stories out in the news to cause division. More division equals more conflict. More conflict equals more chaos. More chaos allows them to bring order. Their whole agenda is order out of chaos. They bring order or response to the tragedy. It's a response that's already been placed. That's why we saw the Blue Lives Matter bill already written in before those events took place. They had a solution for the chaos way before the events ever happened. This is how they work. This is how they operate. They have this stuff planned out, and we are just nothing more than sheep who continue to respond to what they have planned for us. All right. So here's what I wanted to show you guys. Let me see if I can pull it up. And we're going to see if this is let's see here. Stop sharing for a minute, and then I'll share again. See if I can get it up. So it's not showing. All right, that's fine. Oh, here it is. Is it showing? Yeah. All right, so this is something I put together, guys. It's 8 questions I want to ask to see if this is really a true story. It's called How to Spot a False Flag. Again, does it have immediate national news coverage? The answer would be yes. Does it fit a political agenda? That answer would be yes. The political agenda, again, is more order out of chaos. Blue Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter fits that agenda or that narrative. Destroying the black family fits that narrative. Again, you have the weak black man running from the scene, not protecting his woman and his children. You have the strong black woman, Again, that's the feminization or the emasculation of the black man. That's the agenda that has been going for in the black community. If you're not in the black community, then you would not understand. That's what's happening. We continue to see black women in these Black Lives Matter movements. They are the forefront. They are in power positions. Does the incident inspire intense emotions? Yes, we've seen that. It continues to foster anger, outrage, and fear. Does initial media stories conflict with the official story? Yes, we found that today. All of a sudden, the cops have kicked in the door when they had a key. The story continues to change. Do we see any dead bodies? No, we don't. We won't see her dead body. We just hear that she's dead. Are celebrities used to influence citizens? That'll be NA. I don't know if this story is big enough to influence celebrities. I don't know. I do know some people have spoken out about it. And then are mainstream media manipulation tactics being used? Yes, absolutely. Mainstream media tactics, manipulation tactics are being used. Did it get the attention of the federal government? Again, that answer would be yes. We have Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter. You have cops, where you got the SWAT team going in. That's the attention of the federal government. Where do you think the SWAT team comes from? So again, this is my own little test that I use to determine whether it's a false flag or whether it's a hoax. And again, I'm saying that yes, it is nothing more than a hoax. Believe what you want. Feel free to leave your comments. I know I'm getting some idiotic comments in the comment section. That's fine. Everyone has a voice. Let your voice be heard. But if you believe this story that they continue to push forth, if you believe that a woman of that size can shoot a gun, that's what it looks like, shooting a shotgun. Then you are programmed. You are conditioned. For some reason, you just continue to believe the stories that are put forth in the media, and you refuse to think critically. At any rate, guys, that's all I got for you right now. Just want to do a follow-up with more evidence, more truth exposing. A lot of questions are coming forth in these videos. But hey, look into it yourself. Look at the story. They've given us information. They've told us in plain sight in the story itself. No, we don't know whether that was her son or not. You haven't confirmed that. No, we don't know. We don't know whether the boy was coached or not. That hasn't been confirmed yet. We don't know if that SWAT team member that was in the picture in the video was speaking to her or not. We don't know that yet. None of that has been confirmed in the story from the police, the same police that has written up this whole story that you continue to believe. So, well, you say Randalltown Police Department handled this. Yes, but they said they brought in the SWAT team. Did you not get that part of the story? Once you bring in the SWAT team takes over. And if you think that the SWAT team is not a part of the federal government, again, you are highly mistaken. The SWAT team is just a local group. She had 2 children. Yes, you say that she had 2 children, but the police have not confirmed the relationship between these 2 kids or these 2 children that's in the story. Again, you're trying to say that they were both her kids. Let's go with the story. If the police haven't confirmed it, then how can you? So we continue to talk about this. We're talking about what the story said. Let me go back to the story because, again, you're rationalizing. If you're going to believe the story, then believe the whole story. Just don't take your rationalization, say, oh, this is what it was. Let's look at the story. What did the story say? Let's go back and recap this once again. Because for some reason, people want to believe half the story. You're either going to believe it all or you're not. You know, don't rationalize and try to put in your own bias. Again, let's talk about this. Let's go over and do a quick recap. And what the truth that I'm exposing, this is nothing more than a hoax. In one video, tactical officer, there's talking heard that is hard to discern, but there is no apparent conversation between the officer and Gaines. She could have been talking to anybody. But of course, you're going to say she was talking to a police officer, and they're telling you that there's no apparent conversation. And guess what? They took that video down. In the other video, Gaines is talking to a boy. Notice they didn't say talking to her son, which raises the possibility the boy might have been coached. The boy might have been coached. In other words, acting. Of course, you don't want to believe that. You don't want to read what they said. You just want to rationalize for yourself. And that's fine. Continue to rationalize. And I continue to expose truth because people don't want to listen to or want to pay attention to what's written. They want to put things into their own ideology to fit whatever narrative they want. We also find in the story that the police didn't say why the first officer fired. But guess what? 99% of Americans are trying to say why the police officer fired, but the police won't say why they fired. More holes in the story. There's more and more lies. Police have yet to confirm the relationship of the two children to either suspect. But guess what? You're going to say that this was her children. The police have yet to confirm that. But either you're going to believe yourself or you're going to believe the police. If you're not going to believe the police, then don't believe any of this story. If you're going to believe the police, then believe all of the story. Don't pick and choose. That's what people do with the Bible. They say, hey, I like this verse, this scripture. I'm going to follow that, but I'm not going to follow this. Either you believe the whole story or you believe none of it. So don't try and do and confirm and rationalize your own stuff. This is what the story says. That's all I'm doing is I'm reading the story. I'm not trying to add my own bias. I'm not trying to add my own judgment and rationalization. This is what the story said. I can't help what they wrote. I don't know. This is what they put in. So you're either going to believe all of the story that they wrote or you're going to believe none of the story that they wrote. But don't try to pick and choose what you're going to believe. Okay, I got the Baltimore Sun up. It doesn't matter. They're all the same story. I can read the Baltimore Sun up as well. Here's the Baltimore Sun. Read what you like. It doesn't matter. It's all in the news. This is updated on March 3rd, 2016. You can continue to do your own research. 2 officers went in the rental office and asked for a key. They kicked in the door and they had a key. Why did they kick in the door if they had a key? Makes no sense. Again, they didn't say this yesterday they kicked in the door. This is more fabrication of a story. Now they kicked in the door, but they had a key. Well, why ask for a key if you're going to kick in the door? Again, you don't want to ask that. You just want to rationalize. But anyway, I understand. I welcome all ideologies, all beliefs. That's fine with me. But the reason why I go to CNN versus Baltimore Sun is because CNN has national coverage. CNN is going to move more people in this country than the Baltimore Sun. So I understand that you have a local paper, and that's fine. You'll probably get a little bit more truth from local paper, but it's pretty much going to be the same story. But the CNNs of the world, the Foxes of the world, the ABCs of the world, the NBCs of the world, those are what's going to move, are going to have an impact on the emotion of the American people, the most people. If they were trying to get us to fight, don't you think they will use their national media, not the local media? They can get the whole nation in an uproar by putting it in CNN. Whole nation in an uproar by putting the story on ABC or Fox or NBC. That's why I use NBC. I mean, that's why I'm going through the CNN story. I'll be happy to go through the local coverage. That's fine. You can get more details, but most people aren't going to read most details. You don't understand. You don't understand. I understand. I know what you're trying to do, but you don't understand what they're trying to do. Most people aren't going to read the local news. Yes, you're right. Details are more important than emotions. But let me ask you this. Do most people operate on details or do most people operate on emotions? Are most people operating on emotions right now or are most people operating on details? So again, what I'm trying to help you to understand is that we understand that most people are not going to read the details. Most people are not even going to read the story. Most people are going to watch a video and they get mad, get upset, and then start to fight, start to march, start to be mad at police, all of this stuff, or be mad at black people and say, all what they say, all hood rats need to die or whatever. This is the kind of division that's being brought forth by the national news. I'm not saying that, there's not more to be found in the local news. I just know that most people, first, are not going to read. Secondarily, they're not going to go and find and do, if they're not going to go look for truth themselves. That's why I do these videos, to help people to find truth, help people to open their minds up, to start thinking differently and stop believing every word that comes from the biggest propaganda machine ever invented, the television, the newspapers, and the radio. And just to further continue my point, I did this on the last video. I want to make sure we get this in, and then we'll finish this up. Propaganda is legal. It's legal for the United States government to lie to the American citizens. It's been a bill that was passed in 2012, 2013. Why? Again, going back to what you're saying, average bro, the intention is to sway public opinion by using television, radio, newspapers, social media, targeting American informed people and controlled psyops. This is nothing more than a coached, controlled psyop, psychological operation to mess with people's minds, to sway their public opinion and to get them to do what they want us to do, which is fight one another. Because if we're fighting one another, guess what? We won't fight them. All right, guys, this is Conspiracy Brother. I appreciate your time and checking in. Yeah, that's fine, Average Bro. I don't argue, man. I'm looking for truth, and all I'm saying is, hey, the people that are looking for truth as well, hey, we are on the same team. I'm not going to debate over small little incidents. I'm just pointing out things that most people won't read and look at. That's just is what it is. I could go through numbers as well, and 44, 33, and show you guys all that stuff. But now today, I just wanted to go through the story, and we're going to get more information today about who the officers were. Now look at this. They linked these stories, right? Someone asked earlier about the Black Lives Matter, right? So they link stories. So this story they're linking to Black Lives Matter. This story obviously is linked to Freddie Gray because Freddie Gray was in Baltimore. He was the 6 cops or the 3 cops were acquitted, and then they dropped charges on other 3 cops in the Baltimore area. Linking these stories together. This is nothing more than the real life motion picture. They also linked the story to Aurora. You guys remember what happened in Aurora, Colorado? Do you think that was real? That a shooter named James Holmes? Do you remember that story? Do you believe that was real, or do you believe that was fake? Yes, Clinton Gatewood. You need 2 hands to shoot a shotgun. Let's do this again. Where is it at? If you guys have never seen a shotgun being fired, this is what you need to see.
Whenever you're ready.
Makes no sense that people just believe stuff that they see or that they hear. Boom. You can't. Yeah, come on. Give me a break. Give me some more. Give me some more of that shotgun pump action. Need 2 hands to shoot a shotgun. And this is a pretty healthy guy. You imagine what it does to her? But of course, we won't think like that. And one other thing. If she was shooting a shotgun, do you think she would have missed a SWAT team member who's standing in plain sight? Look at this guy who isn't even prepared to shoot if she was shooting a shotgun. Well, they said it yesterday in the story from yesterday. Of course, the story has changed. Clinton Gatewood, they said it. You can look at my video from yesterday. They said it right at the top. But again, I told you guys yesterday the story would change. So yesterday they said right at the beginning that 1 minute or 7 hours. I don't know what you're talking about. They said yesterday that she was holding a kid, but of course, if she was really shooting a firearm or a shotgun, she wasn't holding a kid. So some questions again that I want to ask is, why did the cops fire first? If they're shooting into a situation, yeah, the video with the guy in the hallway. Would anybody miss this guy if you're shooting a shotgun? Look at this guy. Do you guys see this? This is not a SWAT team member. This is not a guy that's prepared to shoot. Look at where his hand is. Have you guys ever fired a gun? It's ridiculous. If the kid was over her lap, the kid would have been hit with the shotgun. Oh my goodness. That's true. That's true. I'm just saying, no, they didn't have the video going, but did the guy find, you remember how long this guy was sitting here standing in the middle of the hallway, and we're talking about that there was gun pointed at the cops? What I'm saying is, put the pieces together that they're showing. I don't need to go through all that because this is nothing but a hoax anyway. But I'm just saying that I'm trying to find if they put it in this part of the story. I don't think that they will. If you want, Clinton, you can check the video I did yesterday where they said that she was holding the son. And of course, that doesn't necessarily mean she was holding him the whole time or whatever. But they did say he was holding the son, but today they're not going to say it. I told you guys yesterday the story would change, and of course it has. This is what happens. We have short-term memory. This is James Holmes. I can tell you guys all about this. Look how crazy you get. This was back in, oh man, I can go into that as well. I'm not going to go into that. So at any rate, I don't know. I don't know if she knew how to fire the gun or not. But yeah, the cops fired first, and I'm just asking, why did they shoot? It was a 7-hour standoff. It was a kid that was in harm's way. She had been pointing the gun back and forth at the kid, at the cops. That was nothing new during the 7-hour standoff. So why did they shoot first? And they tell you in the story that the police didn't say why they shot first. So let's stop rationalizing. Why the cop shot first. They didn't tell you why, so stop trying to figure out why. We just know that the cop fired first, and they haven't released why. And I can tell you really why they haven't released why, because they're still trying to figure out a story that the American public will believe. But of course, we're going to say they did it because of this, they did it because of that, they did it because of this, and they're telling you straight up why that they don't know why. They haven't released why they shot first. Now, I'm not going to say that she didn't know how to handle the gun, because she had a license for the shotgun, supposedly. She had been practicing more often than not. I would imagine that if this was a real story, she did know how to operate the shotgun. Now, it is possible with this small lady that she wouldn't know how to handle the recoil of a shotgun. I don't know if you guys have ever fired a shotgun before. If you've ever been to a driving range. No, that's not true, Clinton. Again, in the story, stop rationalizing. The story is right here. Police didn't say why the first officer fired. So to go and say they fired because of this, and then that goes against the story. If you're going to go against the story, then go against the whole story. Don't pick and choose what you're going to believe out of the story. The police didn't say why the first officer fired. So either they're telling the truth or you're telling the truth. And if you're telling the truth, then that means that they're lying. If they're lying, then that means this whole story is lying. Yes. Why am I reading from one news outlet? Because this is the national news. We can go into all of the news outlets and you can read the same thing. So you mean to tell me that each news outlet is going to print a different story? If that's the case, then what story do you believe? Again, we got to piece together news, if that's the case, which tells you that the news is a lie. Yeah, they are all a lie. I agree. But what I'm saying is if you're saying, okay, I'm reading from one news outlet and you found somewhere else in another news outlet that they do know why they fired, then that means that the news itself is a lie. And we know it. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I am saying that this is a made up story. It's a reason why I got national attention. And it's a reason why you will have different stories from a national level to a local level. They're obviously not communicating, but you do understand that these local news outlets are owned by the bigger conglomerate. Don't think that just because it's a local news story that CNN doesn't own it. Don't think that NBC doesn't own some of these local news stations, some of these local radio stations. All right, you said the Baltimore Sun, right? You say Google is your best friend. Oh, it's amazing that you guys want me to. I know that. Let's look it up. Tribune Publishing. Founded 1837, owned by Trump, formerly known as Tribune Publishing. Who owns Tribune Publishing? American newspaper, print, online media based in Chicago. They own Chicago Tribune, Los Angeles Times, Orlando Sentinel, Sun Sentinel, Baltimore Sun, Morning Call, Current, South Diego. So this is letting you know they are traded on the NASDAQ. They're a nationally traded corporation. So they're independent as of 2014. They own a lot of different publications, the same way that the big ones own a lot of different publications. So now you know who owns the Baltimore Sun. They also own a lot of stuff in a lot of different cities. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, man, I get it. They got different reporters, man. I tell you, woo, you guys are starting to see how this stuff works, man. You guys are starting to see how all this stuff is connected. If you think that this stuff is independent, you are absolutely insane. Do you understand that 90% of what you see in the media is owned and controlled by 6 corporations, right? If you understand that 90% of what you get in the media is owned and controlled by 6 corporations, then you won't use statements like they have their own reporters. It's all connected. So anyway, guys, man, I do thank you for your time, man. You guys can look that stuff up. I'll be back with more as I get more. We'll see what happens later on with the story. But hey, I continue to tell you guys to focus on your intuition. Use your intuition. Let your intuition or your curiosity lead you to seek for truth, to look for truth. And as you look for truth, and it's truth, that'll set you free. Guys, have a good day.